Good evening, folks. Here is your director, Professor Dr. Subhash Kakkar, to deliver a lecture as part of knowledge series. The lecture topic is Lessons from My Mother. Here I want to introduce my mother first. My mother lost her husband at a very young age, and so I also lost my father when I was very young, hardly 5 years old. My father worked in the army and rehabilitation ministry. He was a disciplined person, as my mother told me. He was very affectionate also. My mother is also a bold lady, very affectionate and disciplined, but I lost her around 10 years back. As you know that, my subjects of interest are decision science, business analytics, predictive analytics, TQM, Six Sigma, and BPR. If you see these subjects are practical oriented with a lot of numericals, formula, and their derivations. I don't think I have ever delivered a lecture on such a subject, which I'm going to do it right now for you. This subject and this topic is very close to me. Here I'm going to discuss some of the lessons which I received from my mother, some interactions what I had with her. Interactions with my mother will be narrated, and I will be adding certain things from my own side also to make the discussion meaningful. I'll start with my first story. Story goes like this. I was in the 11th standard, and my goal was to get a first position. At that time, when I was in the school, we used to have higher secondary. It was 11th standard. And nowadays we have 10+2 system. During those days, 9th, 10th, and 11th course used to be discussed in the final year of 11th standard, and in the exam those things were asked. I had a desire to top the school and get my name printed on the merit board. This was my desire, this was my wish. I tried in 8th standard and then tried in 9th standard also and tried in 10th standard. But every time I failed, that I could not get first position. And every time it was second position. I was disheartened. I went to my mother and asked her, please help me to fulfill my desire. She said, look, son, you are your own problem. I asked her why. She said, you want to achieve a goal and you are telling it is your desire. Look, there is a difference between desire and determination. Unless you have a strong determination, you cannot be sure of having your determination fulfilled or your goal fulfilled. First, you will have to make it a determination, a strong determination. I asked her, what is the difference between desire and determination? She said, desire can be compromised, but determination has no compromise. She told me number of times she has seen me bunking school, not very serious in studies. She said, in determination, it doesn't happen. One has to be very serious in achieving a goal. So first thing, you say that it is your determination and you promise. I don't want promise from you, but I want commitment from you. And commitment is social commitment, not a legal commitment. And the social commitment is much stronger and weighs much more than legal commitment. That you will consider it as a determination and you will work for it. I said, okay, mom, I'll do that. Then she said, we'll have to work out a schedule for you. She was very tough. She was very disciplined. I used to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Used to go for jogging, racing, running for 7-8 kilometers, come back, study. I had a school in the second shift. It's 12:30 to 6. 12:30 to 6 in the school, I used to study with full concentration. Used to come back, rest for some time, used to play, then gardening and other hobbies. Then I used to study also. That way the schedule was followed. Then she said, okay, the schedule is there. Now you have a determination also. The most important thing now is you have to beat your competitor, and that competitor, you have common teachers, common books, and you want to get more marks from as compared to him. So you will have to do something extra. Is the extra mile, what you will cover will give you your goal fulfilled. Then I decided I'll do something better than the person with whom I'm going to compete. Instead of one book, I started studying 2-3 books on the same subject and used to note down the salient features and the good features given in those books and used to note them down. While answering in the exam, I used to mention those points and used to highlight. And this way, I started studying. Exams were there. And to my surprise, I got the first rank. And the credit goes to my mother, who taught me the difference between desire and determination. Difference between Ichha and Irada. Ichha can be compromised. Irada can never be compromised. Then what happened on the day when the result was announced? Her friends came to our house to congratulate her and to me also. And one of the ladies gave a remark, your son is very lucky. My mother got very much annoyed to have this remark that my son is lucky. He has achieved this achievement by doing hard work. In 3 years, he must have studied at least 10,000 hours. And he should have followed my schedule right from 5 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the night. And that lady is telling you, it is because of luck. She got very much annoyed. It is because of hard work of my son, and he has achieved 10,000 hours of study to get a 10-second satisfaction to see my name written on the board. That kind of commitment was there, that kind of hard work was put into it. So similarly, if you have something to achieve, it should not remain your desire. Convert into strong determination. Then start working for it. Now I'm going to add something from my own side. Have a goal. Write it on a piece of paper. Tuck it on the study table so that you see it every day, every time. Maybe you paste it on the wall. And this goal should remind you that what exactly is the aim at this stage of time. Then pinpoint points of attention where you have to concentrate, like you have to make a schedule, time schedule. That will be part of points of attention. Then write down points of distraction also. Points which are going to distract you from your goal. That chatting throughout the day and maybe throughout the night. Keeping cell phone on all the time. So these are points of distraction and which are to be avoided. Make your own list of points of distraction and points of attention. And I'm going to ask you, what have you written? While attending this lecture, you should write on a piece of paper, what is your goal? Once I asked my mother how to remember what I study. I told her I forget everything which I study within no time. Again, she said, it is a problem with you. You feel that you have studied once and it is over. It's not like that. Now bring a sieve where we filter tea. I brought that sieve. She said, go and fill water in it. I said, how can I fill water in this sieve? She said, go and try. I went foolishly and tried. And whatever I filled in that sieve, it had drained. I came back to my mother and told her, Mom, I'm not able to fill water in the sieve. She said, okay, bring a bucket full of water. Again, reluctantly, I went, took an empty bucket, filled it with water, and brought it and showed it to my mom. She said, okay, now, do one thing. Dip this sieve into the water. Immerse this sieve into the water. Then tell me. I did it and she asked me, tell me what has happened now. Is your sieve full of water? I said, yes, it is full of water. She said, okay, this is a way to remember what you study. You have to get immersed in your studies so that everything gets embedded in your heart and your mind. Anybody, anytime, if asked you anything, you should be able to reproduce it immediately. And this is the way you should study, not study once and forget it forever. So this is a lesson to memorize conceptually what you study. Similar way, Fox, I'm telling it to you, you can also follow this method. Whatever you study in the class, you understand everything conceptually. When you go back to your respective residences, and you have to revise it and revise it to the extent that you say that everything is clear to me. Then Saturdays and Sundays, off days, again you have to revise the entire course. Holidays, again revise the entire course. And that way, everything will get embedded in your mind. And you will be always remembering what you have studied and what have you been taught. So this is second story which I've given you what has happened to me. After doing higher secondary, I joined Delhi College of Engineering for my further studies. I did my mechanical engineering course, did MBA from FMS. And throughout my college, I was scholarship holder. And this all the credit goes to my mother, who taught me how to get my determination fulfilled. She was a very bold lady. She was disciplined too. And she taught me discipline also. Maybe it was due to my father's connection with army, who was a disciplined person. But my mother was also equally disciplined. When the question of discipline used to come in our discussion or interaction, she used to be very harsh, very tough. See, early in the morning, whether it is summer, whether it is winter, whether it is cold, whether it is hot, 5-degree temperature, I am supposed to get up and go for a jogging. I told my mother, tell me, why are you so harsh when you are to teach me discipline? She said, without discipline, you cannot move forward. If you take an example of a train who is taken off the track, do you think it will move? She gave an example of car also. If you remove the steering wheel of the car, do you think the car will move the way you want? She asked me, if I don't follow the traffic rules, do you think I will reach home? I will reach somewhere else if I don't follow traffic rules. She gave a crude example. She said, a young boy, 5-6 years old, if he's given a box of chocolates or box of toffees, what he'll do? He will try to eat them all at one go. And if he's allowed to do that, what will happen? Tell me, boys, what will happen? Tell folks, what will happen? Yes, you are right. He will get sick. He will spoil his health. But at the same time, if somebody gives him 1 or 2 chocolates daily, he's going to enjoy the chocolates for a long time. And he will be happy too. And this is the way she used to explain me. She explained me further the importance of discipline in her life. Why she was harsh. She wanted me to learn each and everything so that I could face the world which I'm going to be entering into. She gave an example of eagle also. She said, do you know, eagle doesn't have nest on the tree. It makes its nest on the highest peak of a mountain. When she gives birth to newborn, she gathers all the courage and in no time drops it from the peak. And you know what happens? Before that fellow newborn reaches the ground, it discovers that it has wings also. It starts using wings. And then it is on his own. And then similarly, I can give you one more example. Have you seen giraffe? I think it is the highest animal in animal kingdom, around 20 feet high. When mother giraffe gives birth to a child, it is done when she is standing. It drops its baby from her cushion, it falls on the ground. And then this mother giraffe takes a head start and kicks him at the back. It must be a very hard kick. I haven't had any experience of it. Maybe you may be having, but it is very hard kick. That young newborn baby stands, walks for a few steps, and again falls down. Again, mother kicks it, and this fellow stands and takes few steps and falls down. Third time, fourth time, and the fifth time, this fellow learns that he has legs also. He starts walking, he starts running. This was very unkind of the mother, but sometimes one has to be unkind to be kind. So this is the statement which was given by mother to me. Mother giraffe did it so. Otherwise, what happened? If this fellow newborn baby don't learn how to walk, how to run, other animals will eat him up. So one has to be unkind to be kind finally. So discipline is an important ingredient in the character of a person to succeed in life. Some people say that it takes away our freedom. I would say that rather it gives freedom instead of taking away freedom. With disciplined attitude, when we can move freely. Otherwise, if we are not disciplined, try to move freely, we will get harm. We don't want to be getting harm from our actions, so that we should always be disciplined. And a disciplined way, we can get our target. Target is we want to achieve our goal. I have so many stories to tell, but I am disclosing one or two stories which have meaning for you, and you can take them home also. Once I asked my mother, tell me, Mom, I find some people are always successful and some people are a failure. What is that thing, what successful people do, and people who fail do not dare to do? In her simple language, she said, people who fail or losers do not like to wake up early in the morning. And I said, okay, successful people like to wake up early in the morning? She said, no, even successful people don't like to wake up early in the morning, but they do. Losers do not want to do hard work. Successful people also do not want to do hard work either, but they do. And this is the difference between losers and successful people. Losers do not want to do anything, but successful people also do not like to do anything, but they do, and they are successful. And there is one more difference. She told me that successful work on their limitations, and they know their limitations. And they improve on limitations, and then they form and they make orbital change in their performance. They are on a different platform altogether, with full of energy, full of success stories behind them. So this is the difference between successful people and the losers. I want to give a small story. I was around 6, 7 years old. Pandit Nehru visited Delhi police grounds, which are at a walking distance from our residence. People, rather students from local schools, were also called to attend the function where Pandit Nehru was supposed to take a guard of honor in the parade grounds. I don't think I want to tell you who was Pandit Nehru. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, our first Prime Minister. These students, young students, 7 years old, were sitting in the front row. Pandit Nehru came in open jeep. He was tall. He was standing in the jeep. He was tall, fair complexion, rather reddish complexion, had a rose flower tucked in his jacket. I was very much impressed by his personality. I came back, told my mom that I've seen Pandit Nehru, such a huge personality, such a tall person, such a fair complexioned person. Tell me, mom, when I can have this kind of personality, this kind of height? She said, look, son, height is not measured in feet and inches. It is measured in the jobs you do for the country. This height is not neck below, it is neck high. So this is the way she used to give me examples, used to teach me lessons, and I patiently used to listen to her with a lot of interest. Rather, I practically followed each and every instruction of her. Students, can you tell me who is the best teacher in Indian mythology? Who is the best guru in Indian mythology? Probably Guru Vishishth, but Guru Dronacharya is considered to be one of the best gurus in our ancient history. But why? Tell me who was his best student? Of course not. Arjun was not his best student. it was Eklavya who was his best student, who had to give his right thumb as capitation fee. So you must also have a good teacher, good role model whom you should follow all the time. It may not be physically present in the world. You can assume somebody as your role model and start following what you want to see in your role model and start copying those features what are there in your mind, and then you will receive your goal. So these are some small stories which gives us different lessons. I'm seeing that there is a question in the chat box. People are posing, what is the role of fate in the success of a person? I gave you initial interaction with my mother where she refused to accept that my son has gained success because of fate. So in my view, fate doesn't have any meaning as far as success is concerned. It is your own hard work. I can give you one more story to explain my viewpoint. After the death of my father, when I was 5, 6 years old, I was very naughty. In our house, there were plants, there were trees, rather fruit trees. All sorts of fruits were there on the trees, like guava, pomegranate, grapes, and even fig also, lemon, jamun also. I used to climb from one tree to another, sitting on the highest branch of the tree, eating fruit all the day. My school was in the second shift, and I used to eat fruit all the time. And doing all those naughty things in the locality. Friends of my mother were very unhappy. One friend of my mother once told her that rishis from Rishikesh have come to our locality and they are staying in in the neighbor houses. And one of them is Maharaj Ji, others are sannyasi. And what they do is they narrate stories from Ramayana in the evening, and the Maharaj is a good palmist. He looks at the hand lines and predict. And that lady told my mother, why don't you go to that Maharaj Ji and take your son also? Maybe Maharaj Ji will tell some remedy and future of this your child who is very naughty. My mother reluctantly took me to the person, Maharaj Ji, and at our turn, we went to him. My mother told me to show your hand to Maharaj Ji. I did so. Can you guess what did that person tell my mother? He said, okay, sister, your son doesn't have fate line. My mother was unhappy. She didn't show any reaction, but asked him, is he going to study? Maharaji said, when somebody doesn't have a fate line and you are asking about his studies, he will never study at all. Then my mother took me back, came home, told me to sit here, son, Something what Maharaj Ji has told you is something very lucky for you. Only the lucky people have their hands without a fate line. God is so confident that whatever these individuals, those who do not have their fate line written on the hand, will try to do, they will be successful. Now, you are to do your part of the job. Whatever you want to achieve, you do it. And you will get it. And this is the promise given by God to you by not having a fate line in your hand. So that is the day when I realized what is the purpose of my birth. And I started working hard. Day by day, I used to think of something and then I used to be successful. साहिल पे पहुंचने से इनकार किसे है लेकिन, साहिल पे पहुंचने से इनकार किसे है लेकिन, तूफानों से लड़ने का मजा ही कुछ और है। कहते हैं किस्मत खुदा लिखता है लेकिन उसे मिटा के खुद गढ़ने का मजा ही कुछ और है। So this was the meaning I got from that episode. I started working, I didn't care for anybody, and started achieving success after success. I have so many stories, what has happened with my mother, interactions. I can go on and go on. I'll share one of the stories, rather interactions, what I had when I was employed by Goodyear. I was at a very senior position in Goodyear and I was bachelor at that time. I used to get up early in the morning. After taking bath, I used to recite Hanuman Chalisa. For that, I had a booklet kept on my study table in my bedroom. One day, it happened that in the morning after taking bath, I was not able to trace that booklet and I was not able to recite Hanuman Chalisa. I looked for this Hanuman Chalisa here and there. I didn't find it. I started shouting also. My mother was preparing breakfast for me. After preparing breakfast, she came to me. Look, son, what has happened? Why are you shouting? I told her, I have told you a number of times that you should not enter my bedroom. And this time, I'm not able to find my Hanuman Chalisa. She said, okay, if this is a problem, sit in your chair and start reciting Hanuman Chalisa. Wherever you will get stuck, I'm going to tell you and I'm going to help you also. I started reciting it. And to my surprise, I found that without taking any help from her, I was able to recite the entire Hanuman Chalisa. She said, okay, look here, sir. You know what has happened now. You didn't realize that your strong point is that you remember Hanuman Chalisa by heart. So here are two lessons for you. The first lesson is you should know your strengths and at the same time you should know your weaknesses also. You are working in a company, having so many people working under you. You should know your team members, their strengths and weaknesses too. Your own strengths and weaknesses, your team members' strengths and weaknesses, and then distribute the work. then you will be able to get the maximum efficiency. This is called, in our management terms, giving feedback and disclosing. This concept is taught to the management students in the form of a Jory window. So my mother, though she was not much qualified, knew this concept already. And we have seen, and the researchers have seen that females, while bringing their family up and working in the kitchen, they come across so many management principles, and they learn so many such principles which are finally taught in the MBA class. So that was another story. I have so many other stories. She, being not much educated, she exposed me to balanced scorecard also. In my school days, I had 5 subjects. She said, marks of every subject will be counted in the final mark sheet. You cannot ignore any of these subjects. You have to work hard so that you get marks equally well in all the subjects. She explained in her own language that your study level in each subject should be uniform, so that marks should also be uniform. I said in her own language. She tried to explain that 5 subjects are there. I should make a shape of 5 sides, and that shape should be as regular as possible and as big as possible. That means I should work equally hard on each subject. And nowadays, this shape is called radar chart, which is available in Excel. One day, I'm going to explain you certain charts also. Like in the other day, somebody explained you balloon chart. I'm going to tell you how to make balloon chart, how to make radar chart also. One more story is there. It is regarding social responsibility. This story says that once my mother told me to be a good human being, I should work on social responsibility. She said from her own side that I should not seek help from others. I am born to help others only. This was her statement. She never allowed me to go to the temple. Why? Because she thought if I go to the temple, I will ask for something to the God. And I have already given you instructions not to take help from anybody. So I should not visit temple. If anytime I'm forced to visit a temple, I should go there and thank God. This was her statement. She said, help others, help the needy people, help the helpless people, and raise your voice if somebody is torturing them. So I started doing that. Then help God also. Give him also something. I asked my mother, how can I give something to God who gives everything to every other person? She said, helping his people is helping the God. And now onwards, take a notebook. On one page, start writing what you feel that you have done it to God or people of God, and write that statement in the notebook. On the other side of the page, write what you feel that God has done something to you. And see that his page should never be filled up before your page. It means you must have more things done for God rather than God has done to you. So this kind of social responsibility, she taught it to me. And now, in broader sense, we talk about corporate social responsibility. It starts from individual. There are so many stories I can tell you. There are certain corporate experiences also she used to discuss, rather, she used to guide me. In her own vague language, she used to explain that follow a profession with the service in mind. If that is there, money will automatically come to you. These will come to you in huge quantities, which you will never be able to count if you work for service. If you work for money, then money will not come to you. If it does, it will be short-lived. If it is not short-lived, then it will not add any goodwill to your character. So don't do it. Try to see happiness on the faces of all the employees. And do you think productivity will not improve if people are happy? I said, Mom, yes, I must do what you are saying. And she used to explain there is a difference between making money and earning money. She used to say that making money is cheating, but earning money is spiritual. So try to earn money, try not to make money. So these kind of lessons daily she used to give me. I thought I must discuss with my students also. When mother was not there in the whole world, God used to take care of newborns. When he made mother starting taking care of newborns. God used to help people in pain. When he made mother started helping people in pain. God used to help people, they were sick. When he made mother started taking care of sick people. Mother started doing everything what God used to do. In my view, God made mother and became jobless. खुदा मां बना के खुद बेकार हो गया. So in the end, I want to add 2 lines. जितना दिया मेरी मां ने मुझको, जितना दिया मेरी मां ने मुझको, उतनी मेरी औकात नहीं. जितना दिया मेरी मां ने मुझको, उतनी मेरी औकात नहीं. ये तो कर्म है मेरी मां का, वरना मुझ में तो कोई बात नहीं. So here I want give a big hand to my mother. If you like this lecture, after the lecture, please go to your mothers. Give a big, tight hug to your mother. That will be real prize for this lecture to you. That's all what I wanted to talk about. I have already talked. Any questions? I'm ready to answer. Any question? Yeah, it is written what the major point are there to get success in life. First one is foresight. hard work, and strong determination. 3 points. दूरदृष्टि, कड़ी मेहनत, पक्का इरादा. I am getting continued failure in my life. So how can I be positive in these type of, every failure should be a lesson for you. See retrograde and work out what happened wrong. And those mistakes should not be repeated. If you repeat the mistake, it is not a mistake. It is a blunder. If I am getting continued failure in my life, so how can I be positive in these type of situations? Again, the same question, same answer. Be positive. Be positive. Do you think positive attitude can give you success? Tell me.
Yes, I think that being positive is very important because having an optimistic viewpoint helps us to move forward rather than being negative. Because because we will have lot of hurdles as we move forward. It is not going to be smooth, but if we lose hope, if we give up, so that is not the good thing. Instead, if we are positive about the thing, if we, as you said, that if we can learn from the thing, being positive, then it will help us to move forward.
Very good answer. Now I want to add here one thing. Only positive attitude will not give you success. Positive attitude is one ingredient for success. Positive action mixed with positive attitude will definitely give you success. Then I said, you should be determined to get your goal to be successful. If determination is missing, whatever else you say that it is desire, it is wish, it will not be complete because it is going to distract. Wish can be compromised. Determination cannot be compromised. Unless you have a determination to achieve something, you will have to work very, very hard if you get a success. So it is your determination. Make your points of attention, make your own points of distraction, leave points of distraction away, work on your points of attention, and success is yours. It is my 100% surety, and I give you in writing. If you work on the action plans, you are going to get success. There is no chance of getting failure. Yes. So there are questions. Yeah. Any other question? Yeah. What are the major point there we need to work to be successful? I have already explained. Losers do not like to work on certain points. Successful people also do not like to work on those points, but they work. Losers do not want to do hard work. Successful people also do not like to do hard work either, but they do it. That is a difference. That is a distinction between losers and the successful people. Then I said, Pakka irada, kadi mehnat, dur drishti. These are the 3 points which will give you success in the long run. Any other question? So what I have given you? I have given you a job. Who will tell me? Meghna? Yeah, tell me. What is supposed to be done by you people after this lecture? One is the feedback you will give. What is the other thing?
Write down the goals in a piece of paper.
First item was goals, then points of distraction, points of attention also. Then last thing, one important thing I told you. And you go back
to hug
hold your mother and give her a big and tight hug. Is it so? Will you be doing it? Is it a promise? Okay, thank you so much. Now wait for some time and give your feedback also.